Namaste, it's Yllara, Vedic astrologer. The moon is waxing and reaches its fullness in the early morning hours of Tuesday, September 18th, only 4 days before the fall equinox on Sunday 22nd. As this full moon takes place at the closest point to Earth during its orbit, it shines larger and brighter in the night sky than normal. And this harvest supermoon will be eclipsed for 4 hours because it takes place close to the moon's north node, which means that Earth aligns perfectly between the full moon and the sun, and the moon moves into the shadow cast by the Earth, causing the moon to be darkened. This lunar eclipse will be visible over Europe, South America, Western North America, and East Africa. It belongs to Saros cycle 125, an eclipse cycle that started in the 11th century and that tends to present itself with a high stress level because it favors events as accidents, natural disasters, or illness that require a strenuous amount of effort on our behalf. And bodhism or obsessive thinking is also part of this eclipse cycle's energy, more so with this very sensitive lunar eclipse in the water sign of Pisces. Looking at the eclipse chart, we see the moon at 1 degree 29 minutes of sidereal Pisces, sandwiched between Rahu, the lunar north node, on one side, and on the other side, Saturn, who happens to dwell in the same lunar mansion as the full moon does, Purva Bhadrapada, known in the West as the constellation of Pegasus, the winged horse that brings earth and sky together. It is a symbol of the beauty of the soul, able to fly beyond the dimension of physical reality. In Vedic astrology, Purva Bhadrapada is a fiery and fierce lunar mansion that tries to find balance and an anchor, not only on earth and in the body, but also within the soul, whilst aiming up to the light and learning how to face darkness. And darkness we must face with this lunar eclipse, because the moon is not only sandwiched between 2 cruel planets, Rahu and Saturn, but also in square with Mars in sidereal Gemini, and the full moon is opposed by Ketu, the lunar south node, and the sun, who dwell together with Venus in sidereal Virgo. All 5 cruel planets are involved in this eclipse. And yes, the sun is also a cruel planet because it requires us to make sacrifices if we choose the righteous path. The only benevolent aspect is the auspicious trine between Venus in Virgo and Jupiter in Taurus, who rules this lunar eclipse in Pisces. And he is also the ruler of Purva Bhadrapada, the lunar mansion where the eclipse falls in the sky. But Venus, the ruler of Taurus and dispositor of Jupiter, happens to be in the very last degree of Virgo, a position that in astrology indicates major crises and transitions. So what can we expect? What can we do? First of all, this eclipse will impact the whole world because furthermore it is conjunct Neptune, the farthest planet from Earth and a transpersonal planet that reveals our interconnection, our connection to the divine, but it also represents the dissolution of structure and of all that is untrue. Erratic weather patterns with unpredictable rainfalls, water-related illnesses in humans and animals, earthquakes that cause tsunamis, a new pandemic, even more warfare on Earth, and the devastating economic consequences of all that may happen in the next 4 to 6 months. We cannot prevent such events from happening, but we can choose our inner attitude and stand in our light in this difficult time of transition from one world or civilization to another. Vedic scriptures highlight a cycle of 4 yugas or cosmic ages, which altogether have a duration of about 4 million years. These yugas are related to more or less light or density that our solar system finds itself in, while slowly orbiting around the center of the Milky Way. It is stated that the universe will last for 2,000 of these full cycles, that is about 8 billion years, and that we are right in the middle of this time period, in the shortest of the 4 cosmic ages, which lasts for 432,000 years. Each of these cosmic ages has its sub-cycles. With Lord Krishna's death in 3102 BC, one of these sub-cycles, known as Kali Yuga, started, and it is often confused with the larger cycle of 432,000 years that began more or less about the same time. The Mayan calendar system similarly marks the year 3113 BC as the beginning of Kali Yuga. We have here a difference of only 11 years, and both cultures, the Vedic and the Mayan, give the same exact duration of Kali Yuga, 5,125 years. And that brought up the importance of the year 2012, more exactly the winter solstice of 2012 as the end point of Kali Yuga. The old seers spoke about a time of transition that would last 25 years before and 25 years after the end of Kali Yuga, that is from 1987 to 2037, and they warned that things would become intense before a huge, perhaps sudden advance to another civilization would happen. We are right on the edge of that quantum leap. Kali Yuga has nothing to do with goddess Kali, whose name derives from Kala or time. Kali Yuga comes from the root of driving a wedge between people, dividing people, separating humans from each other, from their connection to earth and to divinity, from all what is holy, from all eternal truth. And we can see this in our fragmented and divided world, in our civilization that started to flourish about 3000 BC, when Kali Yuga did set in. Many souls got lost, turned away from light, love, and eternal truth, and created a world that for many centuries has exploited earth, animals, and humans. Millions have died in wars that only serve those who seek financial profit and more power. What makes these conflicts possible is the conviction on both sides to be right and the other wrong, that the other did wrong, what now justifies the same wrongdoing. You bombed my country, I will bomb yours in revenge. We have become bound as victims and perpetrators by chains of action and reaction. People who attack us can drag us in new, long-lasting cycles of karma if we allow ourselves to be pulled in. Karma is the law of cause and effect, and it's not equal to predestination because we have free will. That means that within a predestined set of circumstances and challenges, we are constantly called to choose how we decide to react, what we decide to do. This potent lunar eclipse in Pisces, in conjunction with Neptune, calls us to go beyond separation, calls us back to divine oneness, and asks us to practice forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean negating what happened, does not mean negating the wrong done by others or oneself, but we are intelligent enough, conscious enough, and loving enough to go beyond right and wrong, good and bad, and position ourselves in the light that is in the absolute eternal reality, in the spiritual world that is the source and background of our material space-time world. It means recovering the I am consciousness of our true transcendent identity, instead of identifying with temporary forms as our body, our possessions, our thoughts and achievements. When we live in I am consciousness, we only desire the best for all beings involved. What is the key for living in such a state of being that puts an end to the separation of Kali Yuga that has infected Earth, a separation that is both real and at the same time illusory, because we are both individual and at the same time one in all our diversity? The answer which this full moon in Pisces encourages is love. Love means to be united, united in consciousness, in our beingness. No darkness is able to dissipate light because it is unable to match the power of love. Love is the essence of all reality. My recommendation for this lunar eclipse is to practice the ancient Ho'oponopono prayer for forgiveness with its 4 clear statements. I am sorry, which means I truly regret what I have done. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Truly forgiving oneself and others is a great blessing and the beginning of a new chapter in our personal life. Imagine many human beings practicing forgiveness and how the world would change in accordance. See you soon for the solar eclipse on October 2nd. We are in eclipse season, so do take good care of yourself and use this potent time for personal transformation. Namaste.